I was so excited to be at a show with so many incredible fans who were so excited to see Heathers. It was so much fun. It was like a party. I saw a lot of red, yellow, and green clothing. It felt like everyone was finally seeing something live that maybe they had not gotten to see before. I did not get to see the original production of Heathers when it was in New York City. I, of course, when the show first premiered, I listened to that cast recording on repeat. I loved it so much, and the music is still amazing here. Now, for the most part, I do feel that the staged version of Heathers is a faithful adaptation of the film. And I think it does translate pretty nicely to the stage. Like, I think the musical is great. I think this production of it is good. It's solid. To me, this production does not have the same punch as the 1989 film does. There's a lot of really excellent commentary in that movie, and it touches on a lot of different topics in a dark but humorous way. In the musical, a lot of those really important themes feel sort of secondary to the iconic songs from the show and the quotable moments that fans are looking forward to seeing in the production. It feels very much like the creators of this version of Heathers kind of know what everyone is there for. One of the biggest issues with the musical, in my opinion, is the character of Veronica. I feel like she sort of got a little bit lost in translation. In the movie, Veronica wants to remove herself from the Heathers. She starts out the film already in their group and wants to remove herself from them, but figures out that's hard to do, much like her relationship with JD. It's a very interesting dynamic. However, musical Veronica wants to be a part of the Heathers crew, and I feel like that change is very significant to her character. I can sort of understand why the creatives did that. It gives the character a bit more agency and something that she wants, whereas I guess they were worried about having Veronica coming across as too passive of a lead character, but I feel like it could have been done. This change makes it really hard for me to understand what JD in the musical sees in Veronica that he is attracted to. That's where something really isn't connecting. Veronica in the musical comes across as someone that JD would be against, someone who wants so badly to be included in the cool kids group. I don't understand what he is attracted to there anymore. Like in the movie, JD sort of recognizes Veronica's rebellious nature towards the Heathers and sees her as someone who can validate his very negative thoughts and opinions about his classmates. Lorna Courtney as Veronica obviously sounds absolutely incredible. Her voice is insane, and she has a really nice stage presence. That all being said, I do feel that she was miscast in the role, but I want to be very clear that Lorna is incredibly talented. And by me saying that I feel that she may have been miscast in the role, that has nothing to do with her level of talent at all. If I was casting the show, I would love to see her read for one of the Heather roles. And I feel like I was proven right about that actually, because in Act 2, Veronica gets a moment where she gets to go full Heather Chandler. And I thought Lorna did a fantastic job playing that mean girl role. I really don't understand why this version of Veronica ends up going along with the terrible things that she and JD do. It almost seems like she would immediately retreat or immediately crack after the first instance of their criminal activity. The thing that Lorna does really well, however, is coming across as like a real teenager. And one of my favorite moments was during Big Fun. Big Fun was maybe my favorite scene in the show for so many reasons. But during Big Fun, seeing her dancing with Martha was so beautiful and so refreshing and so fun. They were just jumping around together, having a great time. We're going to talk about Martha later. Wow. So I did really like that aspect of Lorna's performance, but I felt that some of the things that make Veronica a very unique character, especially coming from the film version, I think those get lost here. And I think that's because the way the character is written, the way it's directed, and then also I do think that there are some performance elements here as well. Now, as I said, I was having a hard time believing that JD as a character would be interested in the stage version of Veronica, besides physical attraction. However, I can absolutely understand what the stage version of Veronica would see in the stage version of JD, especially played here by Casey Likes. I had the same reaction to seeing him as this character as I did with Jack Wolf in Next to Normal when I watched that recording. Go ahead and check out my review if you're also interested in that show. Casey Likes is so good in this role. He has this brilliant balance of being charming and menacing, which is very complicated to do. So I think Casey did a fantastic job. He's such a great actor. I never have I seen someone place a bookmark in a book in such a humorous way. He really stood out to me. Someone else who stood out to me, and we're going to talk about the Heathers now, was McKenzie Kurtz as Heather Chandler. She was so well cast in this role. She plays mean so well. She was the perfect love to hate sort of character. Like, I was so happy to see her on stage, yet I would never want her to look in my general direction. Like, I was terrified. Like, that moment at the beginning of the show, the Heathers entrance, and they're walking towards the audience, and again, the crowd was going insane, was so like terrifying to me, seeing all of them, but led by McKenzie Kurtz looking out into the crowd and basically judging all of us. I loved feeling like these Heathers, if they were real, would hate every single one of us in the theater. And that was fun to play around with. McKenzie Kurtz is backed up phenomenally by Olivia Hardy and Elizabeth Teeter, especially Olivia Hardy. She is fantastic as Heather Duke. And I think the song that they gave her, Never Shut Up Again, was a perfect and needed addition to the musical. It always bothered me when I listened to the original cast recording that Heather Duke did not have a song once she takes power, let's say, but I was so happy that it was here. I do feel that the songs that were added to this production were well worth it and fit really well with the tone of the show. I hated the song Blue from the original album, and I'll explain why in a second, but they replaced that song here with a song called You're Welcome, and I think that works out so much better. It takes the very real threat against Veronica in that moment more seriously than I think Blue did. With Blue, it sort of was taking the behavior of Kurt and Ram and making it a punchline, something to laugh at, and I think very much takes the intensity and the realness of that situation out of it. Again, I did not get to see the song Blue staged in the original production. So if you did see it, did it feel that way in the theaters? But from listening to it, I just felt like they wanted you to laugh at Kurt and Ram more instead of fearing what they were about to do to Veronica. Also, I Say No, great song. And it sounds brilliant in the theater. So I really liked the additional songs, but I cannot wait to talk about my favorite character and favorite performance of the night, which was Erin L. Morton as Martha. Every time she came on stage, I could not take my eyes off of her. It's so fascinating what she's able to do with this character. The way that victims of bullying are often portrayed in film or television are already sort of feeling like they're outsiders or, like sort of feel that they don't belong. But what I loved about Erin's take on Martha was that she doesn't see herself as an outsider. She knows how to have a good time with her peers and doesn't let who she is get in the way of that. And I just loved seeing that detail. And I think that's one of the reasons why I loved the Big Fun sequence so much, was because I got to see Martha have such a fun time with her peers. And I think that there's some really strong commentary. And in my opinion, it's the strongest commentary that I pulled from the show. I'm impressed by how this version of Martha was able to show the effects of bullying and what that has on a person, because we don't see Martha start having a bad time until others go out of their way to make sure that she has a bad time. Here is a view from my seat. I had a really good view, but I would not recommend this vantage point for shorter people, just because there is a little bit of a rake in that part of the auditorium. But it's not enough that I feel like you'd be able to see over the people's heads who are in front of you. Like, I've purposefully included an image here where you can sort of see the theater a bit more filled up. I oftentimes was missing, and I'm a tall person, I was oftentimes missing the bottom half of the performers. I would be fine sitting here again, but if you are on the shorter side, you might want to look at sitting in the mezzanine or sitting a little bit closer to the stage. Compared to a Broadway house, it is a much smaller space, so I do think it's hard to find a terrible seat. I do wonder if you sat at the very back of the orchestra, please let me know in the comments. Did you have a hard time seeing the top part of the set where some characters stood up there? Let me know. I was just under the mezzanine overhang, so it did not get in the way of my view, but I wonder if that would be a problem if I sat a little bit farther back. While we're on the topic of seating, I do just want to also share that there is a moment in Act 2 where there is some audience participation with one person in the audience. That person at my performance was selected from the first row of house right. Typically for this moment, it's an adult male that they will pick on. I'm not sure if that will change depending on who's seated there. So if you are uncomfortable with audience participation, I would avoid sitting in that general area. Just play it safe. The person that they selected that evening that I was there was not having it and was not having a good time. And I felt really bad about this, especially because if you know this moment, I knew that the way that they entered back into the song that this takes place in, I knew that this person would become the butt of the joke. And I could tell that this person was just completely uncomfortable. Kerry Butler, who also was very good in this show and is a really great choice to play this role. I could tell that she was trying to make him feel as comfortable as possible, but knowing that this guy was about to be the butt of the joke, I wish that they put him out of his misery a little bit sooner. So, should you see Heathers at New World Stages before it closes? It makes for a very energetic night at the theater, especially if you are into musicals with like a catchy rock score. I think that you would have a really great time at Heathers if you are a fan of dark humor. I think you're going to really like it. If you're a fan of Heathers, I think you're going to want to see it. It is a really good adaptation of the original film. The music is great, like I've been saying. I think that Heathers fans should at least see a production once in their life, especially a professionally done show. If you are a parent of a child who really wants to see Heathers, they recommend that the show is for ages 14 plus. I would agree with that. I do think that there are topics and themes in the show that can be upsetting. And I think, you know, it's important to be prepared for the types of conversations that might come out of seeing a show like this. If it's been a while since you've seen the movie, I would suggest doing some more research on your own end to know what you are going into. There is a pro shot, just one that they filmed in London, different cast, of course, but it is out there. So if you are not picky with what cast you see and you just really want to see Heathers the musical on stage, you can go ahead and watch that recording if you can find it. I'm not sure where it disappeared to because I tried finding it before filming this review, but it's there. So, you know, have at it. Those are my thoughts on Heathers the musical playing at New World Stages through January 25th, 2026. I wonder if this will sort of become another Little Shop of Horrors and have a nice long run time. But don't take that for granted. I always suggest if there is an announced closing date, plan for it to be that date and just see what happens. I would love to read your thoughts in the comment section below. I would also really appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to check out some of my other reviews and theater-related content on my channel. Thank you for watching, and remember to stay off your phone while at the theater.